My parents gave my apartment to my sister without asking, so I taught them a lesson. I came home and found a stranger sleeping in my bed, my sister's clothes in my closet, and my name erased from the mailbox. That was the moment I realized they'd replaced me like I never existed. My own parents, without a word, handed over my apartment to my younger sister, and didn't even have the decency to tell me. If this already has you hooked, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Viral Secrets for more shocking real-life stories that leave you speechless. I stood frozen in the hallway, key still dangling in my hand. The lock had been changed. When the door opened, it wasn't my sister who greeted me. It was her boyfriend, shirtless, holding a smoothie, looking at me like I was the intruder. "You're Ava, right? Emily said you might show up," he said casually. "Emily? My younger sister. The one who always got away with everything because she was delicate or still figuring things out." I used to brush it off, the favoritism, the excuses, the way my parents bailed her out of every mess she made. But this, I earned that apartment. Scraped every dollar while juggling 2 jobs. That lease was in my name. I fought for that space. My first real step toward independence. And they gave it to her like it was a hand-me-down sweater. I stormed back to my parents' house, shaking with disbelief. "Oh, honey, don't be dramatic," my mom said, not even looking up from her crossword puzzle. "Emily needed a place. You weren't using it right now, and she's going through a breakup. Besides, family helps family." "Helps?" I laughed, bitter. "You helped her by stealing from me." My dad chimed in like he was settling some small debate. "You're young, Ava. You'll figure it out. Emily's fragile right now. This is just temporary." That word. Temporary. Like my life didn't matter. Like my boundaries were a joke. They made it sound like I should be proud to sacrifice for their favorite child, again, but this time, I said nothing. No yelling. No arguing. Just a quiet, calm nod, because they had no idea what I'd built while they were too busy babysitting. Emily's drama. They didn't know that I wasn't just using that apartment, I owned the building, and soon, they were going to find out. The very next morning, I walked into the building's management office, not as a tenant, but as the owner. 3 months ago, I'd bought the entire property complex under my LLC, ANL Holdings, my initials, Ava Lane. I had kept everything under wraps, because that's how I liked it. Silent moves. Quiet wins. But now? It was time to make some noise. I printed out the lease records, ownership documents, and a special notice for apartment 3B, my apartment. By noon, Emily and her boyfriend had a formal eviction notice taped to the door. I didn't call. I didn't text. I let the paper speak. By 3 p.m., my phone rang. 10 missed calls from Emily. Then my mom. "Ava. What the hell is this?" Emily said. "You're trying to kick her out? Is this some kind of revenge?" I didn't even flinch. "No, Mom. This is called consequences. You handed over something that didn't belong to you. Now I'm taking it back." "You always twist things," she snapped. "Emily's heartbroken. She needs that apartment." "No," I replied, calmly. "She wants it." Big difference. Silence. Then came the family group chat messages. My aunt chimed in, "You're being cruel, Ava." My cousin added, "You've changed." And the best one? My dad, "We raised you better than this." I almost laughed. The same man who told me, "You'll figure it out," when I begged him to explain why my sister was living in my place, now had a problem with me standing up for myself. The truth? They hadn't raised me. They used me. I was the responsible one. The reliable one. The one who always stayed quiet while they bailed out the reckless daughter, but the Ava they knew, the one who swallowed her pride, she didn't exist anymore. That night, Emily showed up at my office building. Her mascara was smudged, but her attitude wasn't. "You're really going to throw me out," she said, arms folded, voice shaking. I didn't say a word. I slid the documents across the glass table, proof of purchase, LLC registration, and a copy of her boyfriend's name under unauthorized occupant. "I'm not throwing you out," I said. "You never belonged there in the first place." Her face paled. "You own the building?" I just stared at her. Let that fact sit there. Sink in. For the first time, she looked at me not as the boring older sister, but as someone dangerous, and that was just the beginning, because I wasn't just taking back my apartment. I was about to take back everything. 3 days later, my parents invited me to dinner. Not out of love, out of panic. We just want to talk, sweetheart, my mom said over the phone. Let's not blow this out of proportion. I knew what this really was, damage control. But I showed up. Not for reconciliation. For closure. The second I walked into that house, I saw the setup. Emily sitting in the middle, looking like a sad puppy. My mom on one side, my dad on the other, like some courtroom drama with me as the villain. My father started. Ava, this isn't how family handles conflict. I leaned back in my chair. You mean, like giving away someone's apartment behind their back? He blinked. It was meant to be temporary. We didn't know you owned the building? I cut in. Yeah. That's the part you didn't know. Because you never bothered to ask. Emily sniffled, trying to play the victim. You've always been so cold, Ava. So distant. I was just lost. I looked her dead in the eye. No. You were entitled. Big difference. My mom tried again, softer this time. Look, maybe we made a mistake. But we're family. We're supposed to support each other. I took a deep breath. You don't get to preach about family. Not when you handed my apartment to someone else like I was disposable. Then I reached into my purse and pulled out a thick envelope. This, I said, sliding it across the table, is your formal notice. The house you live in? The mortgage is under A&L Holdings. You have 6 months left before your fixed-rate loan expires, and I'm not renewing it. Their eyes widened. My mom's face drained of color. My father looked like someone just yanked the ground from under his feet. What are you talking about? He stammered. I smiled, but it didn't reach my eyes. I bought your mortgage. 2 months ago. Quietly. Just like you quietly gave away my apartment. You planned this? Emily gasped. No, I said, standing. I earned this. You just gave me the reason to act. I walked out, leaving them stunned in silence, but I wasn't done, because the people who used me were about to watch me rise, while they crumbled, and the most ironic part? They were going to need my help to survive. It took less than 2 weeks for the cracks to show. My dad called first. Not with an apology, but with a desperate plea. Ava, listen, the bank's not willing to refinance. They say our credit score's too low without a cosigner. They're suggesting we sell the house. I stayed silent. Ava, his voice cracked. We could lose everything. I let the silence stretch, like a weight on his chest. Then I spoke, calm and slow. That must be hard. He sighed heavily, but I heard the shift in his tone. The power dynamic was no longer in his favor. Then came Emily. This time, no makeup, no drama, just fear. Ava, I know you're angry. But please, don't do this to Mom and Dad. They don't deserve to lose their home. I tilted my head. You mean the home they tried to raise you in by throwing me out of mine? She winced. Do you know how many times I cried in that apartment? I continued. How many nights I came home exhausted from double shifts, just to hear you being praised for doing nothing. Tears welled up in her eyes. I didn't know it meant that much to you. No, Emily. You didn't care. I handed her a check. This is for 1 month of rent. Go find your own place. Build your own life. You don't get mine anymore. And with that, I walked away again, for good this time, but just as I closed the door, something hit me. They were never going to change. My whole life, I'd been waiting for them to see me, to respect me, to choose me, but they only respected power. So I gave them a choice. I called a family meeting, at my new downtown office, glass walls and skyline views. I didn't ask them. I summoned them. When they walked in, their jaws dropped. Ava, the invisible one. Now the one sitting at the head of a 10-foot marble table. I laid down the deal like a CEO, firm and cold. You want to stay in that house? Fine. But here's the new agreement. Monthly payments. On time. No excuses. You miss one, and I sell. My mom looked at me like she didn't recognize me. I'm not doing this to be cruel, I said. I'm doing this because you taught me what happens when people take you for granted. This is me finally setting the rules. They nodded. Because they had no choice, and just like that, Ava, the quiet, responsible one, became the one holding every key. Months passed. The house payments came in, right on time, every time. No more excuses. No more guilt trips. Just quiet compliance. It was strange, watching them transform. My father, once dismissive, now spoke to me with caution, like I was someone to answer to. My mother, who used to call only to ask for favors, now asked before assuming anything. And Emily? She finally got her own place, a small apartment across town. Nothing fancy. But it was hers. For the first time in her life, she was learning what it meant to stand on her own. For me, I expanded ANL Holdings. What started as one building grew into 6. I began mentoring women who'd been underestimated like I was. Women who were always the backup plan, the helper, the one no one saw coming. One evening, I stood on the balcony of my new penthouse, the one they didn't even know existed, watching the city lights stretch endlessly. My phone buzzed. A text from Emily. I get it now. I'm sorry. For everything. I stared at it for a while. I didn't reply because forgiveness isn't always a message. Sometimes, it's a boundary. A door you close, gently, but firmly, and never open again. They had handed my life away like it was something disposable, but I took it back. Piece by piece. Brick by brick, not with revenge, but with power, and now, every time they pay rent, every time they speak to me with respect, every time they realize I'm the one who holds the ground they stand on, I remember the girl who came home to a locked door and a stranger in her bed. That girl is gone now. I am Ava Lane, and they'll never forget that name again.